As always, this video is directed towards ENV for Nature Vietnam, as well as the Vietnamese government and the Prime Minister of Vietnam. Kaka, MIT, and Puka have now been missing for 18 months. Initially confiscated, they were then carelessly released onto Ben N Island, only to later be kidnapped from the island and taken to an unknown location. Wherever they are now, survival seems just as unlikely as it was on Ben N Island. On the island, they were fed all sorts of inappropriate food by visitors, things they should never have consumed. At the same time, their family was forbidden from providing care, affection, or food, while paying visitors were seemingly given free rein to act as they pleased. During this time, Kaka developed a rash on her tail and was subsequently removed from the island, just like Puka, who had fallen ill after her initial confiscation. Removed is really just a euphemism. What happened aligns closer to abduction. Whenever an animal falls sick in their care, ENV either hides or relocates it, seemingly unwilling, or unable, to provide appropriate treatment. This behavior suggests an effort to conceal their mistakes rather than rectify them. Furthermore, I, the administrator of the Facebook page Freedom for Kaka, MIT, and Puka, have personally spent a lot of time watching various videos, including those regarding so-called rescue operations for monkeys of all kinds. Now, I direct my questions to the ENV, the Vietnamese government, and the Prime Minister of Vietnam. How is it possible, and I must ask this for the 100th time without ever receiving an answer, that monkeys in Vietnam are captured and sent via airplanes to research laboratories across the globe? All this while the ENV talks about rescuing monkeys and bans families from keeping them at home as pets. Vietnam is filled with many impoverished people, and yet they are condemned for earning money through their videos. What is the real issue here? If these animals are living a good life, being treated well, fed, and given water, why is that a problem? I can concede that dressing them in clothing may not be ideal. But is it truly better for these animals to suffer in laboratories, be tortured until they die a miserable death, and then be discarded in trash bins or biogas plants? Or perhaps this is simply about envy, a sense of resentment within the ENV and the government, jealous that poor families are managing to earn some money. Is the real issue that the system prefers wealth to flow from the poor to the rich, as is so often the case in politics and countries worldwide? I have watched numerous videos of wild monkeys from different parts of the world and would like to ask you the following. In any monkey family, there are mothers who act with incredible brutality if they reject their offspring. They throw their babies to the ground, drown them, beat them, or toss them around violently. Do you truly consider this kind of life better for a monkey baby than living in a loving, caring family? I wonder what kind of person you are, what kind of mindset you have, that you would rather witness and accept such scenes than advocate for leaving these families in peace while channeling efforts into rescuing animals that are genuinely being tortured and abused in front of cameras. Yet, when platforms like Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube are asked to remove such videos and take action against the abusers, the response often claims there's no evidence of abuse. Meanwhile, families who truly care for monkeys, their animals are taken away even though these creatures would struggle to survive in the wild. As I've repeatedly pointed out before, there's well-documented abuse of animals in Vietnam where monkeys, alongside other animals, are openly cooked, roasted, and sold on the streets in cramped cages, including baby monkeys. Why on earth does nothing get done about it? Instead, people are sent who seem to spend their entire days insulting, trolling, and harassing those who speak out to defend these families and their monkeys. These individuals go so far as to monitor and betray those who criticize the confiscations, undermining efforts to protect these animals. I present my perspective on the matter as follows. I neither accept being spied upon, insulted, harassed, nor oppressed in any form, and I extend the same courtesy to my collaborators and advocates participating on my Facebook page. Any individual who engages in trolling, harassment, insults, or abusive behavior will be promptly blocked or reported. This practice will persist until such behaviors cease. It is imperative to acknowledge that we are not living in Vietnam, and no person should be subjected to denigration from individuals harboring envy or hatred. Furthermore, it is high time that decisive steps are taken to prohibit the unlawful hunting of monkeys in Vietnam and to eradicate the widespread mistreatment of animals on its streets. These creatures, too, are sentient beings capable of experiencing pain and suffering. Moreover, they possess an intrinsic ability to discern kindness from malice. The atrocities committed against these animals are reprehensible, yet institutions such as the ENV, the government, and even the Prime Minister have failed to address these issues effectively. Fortunately, many nations have awakened to the understanding that animals are living beings deserving of protection. Cruelty towards them is increasingly met with severe punishments, including imprisonment, while animal testing in laboratories has been progressively banned, leading to the closure of such facilities. It is my ardent hope that Vietnam similarly faces stringent penalties in the future, bringing an end to these grotesque acts of brutality. This situation also underscores the need for individuals to overcome their envy and hatred, recognizing that material possessions and unjustifiable animosities are ultimately futile. The ongoing cruelty toward animals raised in family environments, where they are provided care and a good life, is utterly intolerable. To rip out their hearts metaphorically and inflict suffering far greater than that endured by humans is beyond comprehension. These animals cannot fathom why they are abducted by strangers, separated from their families, and transported away under traumatic conditions. I am tired of extending empathy where it is undeserved. I am weary of accommodating such disregard for basic decency. An honest reflection must take place within Vietnam regarding these practices. It is unconscionable that these abuses continue and are emboldened under a system that seems indifferent to the immense harm caused to defenseless animals and their families, who live under constant surveillance and threats. The facade presented through promotional imagery that highlights only the appealing aspects of Vietnam fails to reflect the underlying cruelty taking place within its borders. Change must come, because the global community will not relent until justice is served. We remain steadfast in demanding an end to the suffering inflicted on Vietnam's streets, including the abhorrent hunting practices targeting monkeys across the country. We will publicly showcase these hardships and share them widely, as your supposedly beautiful Vietnam harbors numerous darker aspects that deserve to be brought to light. Based on research sourced via Google, the trade of monkeys, particularly long-tailed macaques, from Vietnam to laboratories across the US, Europe, and Asia remains a widespread and contentious practice. This industry is surrounded by ethical debates, accusations of illegal dealings, and concerns related to the conservation status of these animals. What unfolds here, the confiscations and supposed rescue missions, is nothing short of misleading. These rescues often result in keeping the animals in cramped cages or restrictive setups, without them ever truly experiencing freedom. This cannot be called rescue. It is far from being in the animal's best interest. Instead, it serves a narrative aimed at bolstering Vietnam's reputation, showing off achievements that are far from genuine. They aim to portray themselves to the world as kind-hearted and animal-loving people, yet their actions speak otherwise. If they truly cared, such atrocities would not be allowed. Moreover, their consumption habits further highlight their disregard for life. Anything with fur, for legs, fins, or even those that crawl seems to end up on their plates. Is there anything in Vietnam they do not eat? The harsh truth is that these monkeys are not being rescued, it is a farce. Misleading claims, lies, and a blatant display of power overshadow any real concern for the welfare of animals and humanity alike. They exercise force, intimidate people, and exploit animals as they see fit. If they genuinely believe that keeping these monkeys in private hands harms conservation efforts, then it is high time they address the horrific events taking place on Vietnam streets. What is happening is disgusting, heartless, cold, and utterly depraved. I believe the reason families are being pressured, threatened, or even faced with the possibility of imprisonment boils down to one main issue. The darker sides of Vietnam must not be made public. It's all about maintaining an image of sunshine, light, love, Buddhism, and so on, while the reality in Vietnam often looks quite different on a daily basis.